Into week 8 of Emerald Draft League. My name is Epileptic the Unicorn. Joining me by Kamuchi, we have a game to determine playoff standings at the lower end of the division between Eagles and Demons. The winner of this has a very good chance of making it into playoffs, and the loser is going to lose control over their own destiny going into the final week of the season. So
initially we start off with the Tryndamere ban. I'm not sure where that's going to, but Demons did scout out the Vagar from last week against the Eagles.
and we might actually get a Malzahar ban coming out here, not wanting to play against that from Defoe. So we'll have to see what the final ban coming out for the Demons is, and it is going to be that Urgot. So we'll see what did the Eagles prioritize here, and they might just go for a tank in the top lane that Ornn is immediately locked in, trying to just have a little bit of stability up in the top side here.
Yeah, it looks like they have a substitute for the top lane, so it's looks like they're taking a safer route with the tank as Shaco gets
Shaco. That is definitely just instant locking that Shaco in, and yeah, there is a sub top laner for the Eagles and a sub jungler for the Demons. So both teams playing with one sub here.
Last time we saw Shaco was in the support role. So I guess we'll see how well the Shaco plays out. Shaco's really tricky to play against. You always have to have eyes on him, and he has a constant stealth.
All right, and the LeBlanc is actually just going to be locked in here. And so far, there's some very squishy members here on the Demons. So if they can really get a snowball going in this early, it can definitely be a very big threat to this no mobility of Philios here. And where do you think this Shaco is going? You think it's going in the jungler, or are we going to get a more interesting role for it?
I think they were going the more interesting role. Hold up, give me 1 second.
All right, well, we do have the Seraphine locked in, so it's probably going to be Prometheus playing that. He's played that a couple times so far.
I just realized Mike's Revenge is the same Shaco's player. Shaco one-trick support that we saw last time.
Oh, so we could have the whole bot lane here as we get a Gwyn locked in here, presumably for Rake, up in this top lane to go up against Ornn. So a fairly good matchup up in top side for this Gwyn after the first couple levels. Really Ornn just doesn't have the damage to trade back. So
yeah, and Eagles, as they're looking to ban out the Xerath, they have chosen the Seraphine. Prometheus has been really comfortable on playing the Seraphine, and it looks like they've been having a bit more success on it. But I guess we'll see how it plays out, as we're not seeing a Tristana this time around.
Yeah, definitely not going to see that, and I'm definitely interested in what the Eagles want to pair with this Seraphine here for Visionary in the bot lane, especially if they. I wonder if they probably know that it's a Shaco bot lane, given the match history. So definitely going to be an interesting decision on what they decide to actually lane into this, since they do know the entire lane. But I'm not entirely sure what AD carry you would like to pick into this situation.
Honestly, I do something safe. You already have something like a Seraphine, and something that scales usually works out. You just have to try and not get cheesed by it, because Shaco support is more of a cheese pick than anything.
Yeah, and we get that Anivia locked in for Defoe, so the standard mid lane matchup that he typically plays here, as we get a little bit of
Is this auction mid? Tark bringing back the auction?
There's already a LeBlanc. Wait. I feel like that would be a little weird. Is it Akshan? I guess it could be some weird bot lane. I guess it kind of has to be.
Visionary is really Eagles really like their weird ball lanes. Is what we've come to realize these last few weeks as we
Yeah,
get a Viego pick at the
yeah.
end here.
Unless they're gonna do something weird with an orange Seraphine bot lane, I think this is probably going to be an Akshan in the bot lane as we wrap up the draft with the Jarvan and the Viego. So some weird stuff happening all around in this game here. What do you think of both teams?
This is probably the most interesting match we've had thus far, just in terms of champion picks. Like, I don't think we've seen the Gwen. Viego has been sort of under the radar in this league. I think Shaco support is definitely Mike's Revenge classic, and it looks like Eagles are just going all in with their comp as well. So I I would I would put it more towards the Eagles since they have an easier to execute comp as thus the theme of our preference, but it can honestly go either way.
Yeah, definitely can. As yeah, I'm not really. I think we have a little bit of a more clear idea of what the Eagles kind of want to do. It's just the Akshan that's kind of the weird pick here. Whereas the Demons, they're kind of all over the place. They have like this Viego, Shaco, and Gwen, but then they have an Anivia and Aphelios. They don't really. Their other champions don't really offer peel for the Anivia and Aphelios, and definitely Anivia doesn't want to be running forward the whole time with the Viego and Gwen. So a
I mean,
little bit disjointed in their comp, but
do you think that we're gonna see the whole breaker of Philios again?
yeah, probably. I know Stank was very adamant about his build choice, so that is definitely something that we could end up seeing.
I do have confirmation. It is Akshan mid going for Tark. So it's gonna be a LeBlanc ball lane
LeBlanc Seraphine
on
bot lane?
Visionary. Yeah, LeBlanc Seraphine ball lane.
I don't see how that bot lane ever functions.
Yeah, they chose the LeBlanc 80 carry into a Shaco. Shaco is an absolute counter. He just sets up and LeBlanc can never W in.
Yeah, that's definitely a lane that I would not recommend anyone try to pull out. But we'll see if Visionary and Prometheus have some special sauce they've been cooking up. But I definitely would give the advantage to the Demons in the bot lane. And I think the Demons have a pretty good advantage in the top lane as well with that matchup there. So really will come down to how well can the mid jungle kind of increase the tempo of the game and try and get these side lanes, especially the bot lane with this LeBlanc ahead, because Akshan and Jarvan should definitely have the advantage as long as they don't get caught out with a chain stuns in this 2v2. So if they can push the tempo of the game and get rotations off the dive bot lane or something like that, maybe they can get an early snowball going and kind of get rid of the fact that LeBlanc is laning in a 2v2 lane.
Yeah, it's definitely one of our interesting things. I think the Eagles should prioritize their mid top, whereas Demons, they have a pretty good setup currently. There's not really too much going on for Viego in terms of ganks, one might say. But you never know with a Viego. He has a lot of good ultis to steal, in my opinion, right now.
All right. Well, we will have to see how these teams end up playing out, but I think we're going to throw it to a quick break real quick. And when we come back, we'll see the start of game one between Eagles and Demons. And we are back for the start of game one here between the Eagles and the Demons as we look to see how they end up executing this. LeBlanc 80 carry. She did end up taking cleanse. Um, so I guess wanting to cleanse off some fears. There's not really a lot of CC for LeBlanc to worry about in this game. So definitely an interesting choice as we roll into this. As I will be solo casting for a bit as Kamushi has dealing with some issues. But the Eagles just content to just wait for minions to spawn, looking for a almost a 5-point. They almost got it right there. 4-pointing it as Shaco's setting up some boxes here to help out the leash for Viego. So we'll see how much this can speed up his clear time and maybe get him an early advantage in this jungle, get him a gank faster than would otherwise be able. As we actually are getting a proxy level 1 here from Rake, as he's just starting behind the turret, but he missed the whole wave. So I'm not exactly sure what he's doing. As now he has to run back to the top lane to end up catching this. So maybe a little bit of mistiming there by the Gwen, but shouldn't affect the state too much. is going to be able to catch all that CS. And really want to see what these junglers do. If Jarvan tries to go for some sort of early gank here, or he's just going to resign himself to full clearing. As he's definitely on a champion who can get himself involved very quickly and easily in these matchups, especially in here in mid lane. It might be a little bit difficult, though, as Tark is shoving this Anivia all the way in. But as this wave bounces, it might be an angle for the Jarvan to look for an angle. But it looks to be just both junglers content, just a full clearing up towards their red side, or their top side, rather. And not looking too interested in looking for a play, as not too much is happening anywhere really on the map, as Shaco's putting up those defensive boxes just to keep himself safe from any sort of jump in on the LeBlanc. But overall, not too much has been happening. No early CS leads appearing so far. Both top laners are actually going for a decent trade here, and they will definitely have to be careful here and aware of the jungler's positioning. Both are down to half HP, with both junglers already up here. As the Viego's looking for a gank, he is on a ward, so Orange should know to back off from this, but looks like he's confident to take the 2v1. So it doesn't back off early enough and will take a big chunk of damage. And actually the stun lands onto him, so he's going to have to go back to bases. The Viego actually flashes forward, trades flashes, but gets the kill anyway. And that's first blood and a solo kill over to the Viego. It's definitely not a good look, as Jarvan jumps in to try and answer something back, but won't find anything. As now Defoe's going to get jumped on real quick, puts up that wall to try and buy some space, but Tark's just running him down, and now Defoe's walking straight into the Jarvan. He's going to have to burn his flash here, most likely, to try and get away. But he might just be... There we go. The flash finally gets used, as the bot lane went for a little bit of a trade. But flash down on Anivia is definitely a prime target here for this Jarvan to try and come back looking for a repeat gank here. And we'll see if he can pull that off, as Defoe's probably going to have to look for a reset here with that TP, as one more auto attack and he might just lose his passive here. But no, the stun lands, and now Tark is going to get trained down by the minions, and he's going to go down even after going stealth. And a bit unfortunate there that the minions just didn't quite lose aggro fast enough. And now Defoe is still has his passive and is confident just walking up to push this wave out, as he knows Viego is here. But we'll have to be careful now that Tark has TP back. They don't want to try and force any of this, and this wave will go under turret. As Habib is walking up very closely to try and get the passive burn, but he's under turret. He's just going to hand over another kill. And now this Viego is stolen up Jarvan's, and he's going straight in onto Tark, who's already used his TP back, and now is going to be forced down to half HP. And all that for just Anivia's passive, and this is going perfectly for the Demons in this early game. See what these teams decide to do, as the first bot back did come out for this bot lane, and just looking to rush some raw AP on this LeBlanc. Starting off with that Blasting Wand, should be working his way towards the Ludens, but deciding he didn't need the early mana from the Mana Crystal for this lane. So definitely looking for a kill angle, and we'll see if Jarvan decides they want to come down here. But as I said, that Tark is going straight back in onto this Anivia. No mana, and will get chunked out a bit, but still has TP and was able to shove out the wave, so not too big of a deal, as the Demon's looking to secure this first dragon as well. And Habib might try and suicide for this, but if he goes in, he's not coming back out with no flash. We'll see. He looks to be going in here, and he actually steals the dragon with that spike coming down, and he's trying to get a trade kill back on as Seraphine flashes forward and lands the root, but it's not going to be enough, as the Viego picks up their soul reset, as now Jarvan EQing straight in. Staying flashes forward to follow up, and now Visionary is running for his life here, but there's not going to be any way out, as maybe the clones are enough to trick them. So the chains will land to stop the Shaco from following, but this stolen Seraphine is just enough to get Viego back into range. And that's 5 kills now on Viego at 6.5 minutes in, and this game's looking pretty doomed already for the Eagles. Yeah, unfortunately, oh, there we go. The scoreboard is not quite updating on the gold lead here, but I suspect there is a fairly significant gold lead going over in favor of the demons at this point, as now Viego's just inside the jungler, stealing red buff. He can do pretty much whatever he wants at this point, as Ku is looking for a trade here, but not going to find it, as Rake just pulls out his ult as well, and he might just take out the kill. The level up gives him just enough HP to survive, and Ornn's going to be able to walk away, but might lose this whole wave for it, but it looks like both top laners are going to just take this opportunity to reset here. Spend some of that gold. And I just noticed Jarvan is starting Tiamat as his first item, so that is definitely not something I have seen before. I would typically expect him just to rush either the Gore Drinker or maybe an Eclipse in a more, aggro solo queue style game, but looking to try and maybe rush the Ravenous Hydra or maybe even Titanic is definitely an interesting choice, especially when you're already 2 kills down on the Jarvan. But we'll see if they can play it out, as now Rake might be in a bit of trouble, but is going to respectfully back off. He shouldn't be in too much danger as long as he doesn't try and contest for this pink ward. But will do so, and nothing is going to happen here, but both teams definitely looking at this Herald, seeing who can get control of it here, and should definitely be the demons if they want it. Just wait for Rake to push out this next wave, and shouldn't really be an opportunity for the Eagles to contest, as Viego is looking for another gank up here on this Ornn. As Ornn's just walking straight into him, so this is going to be a free stun land, as now Viego's just opening up on this Ornn, who's going to have to dash away to the safety of his Jarvan, and now both of them are going to have to get away, but Jarvan actually used his drag, and now he doesn't have his flag drag combo to get away, but he should have just enough movement speed just to walk his way out, as there was no CC left. As now Visionary is going in, he lands the chain, but just no follow-up damage after that, as Stank is actually re-walking back up aggressively, trading auto attacks with Prometheus, not scared for his life at all. As Shaco's getting a bit low, but definitely can be an annoying character to try and lock down with that invisibility on his jump, as the Herald does in fact go down over for the demons, but Shaco is completely out of mana at this point. We'll see if they look for a dive here, as Jarvan and forgetting his name, whatever, and now they go straight in, and Stank uses the barrier to try and stay alive, but it's not going to be enough, and Jarvan's going to be able to get himself out. And now that's going to be a kill landed over by Tark. He's just going to be able to swing his way back out. So a good dive coming out of the Eagles, picking up 2 much-needed kills after the slow rotation from the Demons not matching.
Yeah, but the issue currently is that this Viego, he has 5 kills, he's snowballing the game. He has an 800 gold shutdown currently.
Yeah, that just means it's free gold back over to Eagles. And welcome back, Kamuchi.
Hello, I am doing admin things.
As the first 10 minutes of our game was rather action packed. So we'll see if they can keep up this pace. As Rake is definitely beginning the better of trades up here in top lane. As maybe you can shed some light here for me. Have you seen this Jarvan build before, rushing just Tiamat? I knew this was something that people did, back at the start of the season when Ravenous Hydra was just incredibly broken. But definitely haven't seen it since then.
Yeah, I feel like prioritizing
Oh, Viego just flashes straight over the wall. They actually interrupt the spin from Tark, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to use his flash to get away. It's going to be some Herald plates going down. But very aggressive from this Viego.
Yeah, Tark saw the Rip Herald going down, and he's forced to blow flash because of a misjudgment.
Oh, Prometheus is walking way too far forward. He fails his flash into the wall, and he should be traded back, but on the other hand, the Shaco did go down. Now Jarvan just jumps straight in onto the Viego, locking him in place, but he has 5 kills, and he doesn't care. He just executes him and then uses the invulnerability to immune the ult coming out of Tark. And that's going to be an easy 2 for 1.
We're seeing multiple rotations coming in from the bottom.
Oh no, Tark. Oh, he gets the 1k shutdown. And then Stank flashes over and doesn't even get the assist afterwards.
Oh my... Jesus, that's so much gold coming in for Tark. Tark has been a really strong player for Eagles, and looks like they're trying to bank on Tark still being a menace in all of their current games. as we see more fighting coming in.
Oh, the charm does land on this tank, but he has a lot of damage, and there's just not enough coming out, and Prometheus finally is able to finish off the kill, but he's going to trade his life back. And, man, you saw how much they lack damage there with this LeBlanc Seraphine. Just not enough damage to kill Aphelios, even though he didn't have barrier and walked straight into their CC. Now Jarvan is going to have to run for his life. Definitely does not want to take any sort of fight against this Viego. Now already has his Divine Sunderer done. And this should just be a dragon going over. But Jarvan is actually still looking for this as the Tark is here to support. Looks like he might try finish this one off as the flash forwards to come out. And they will once again get a kill onto this Viego, just playing way too aggressively without any backup and unable to find any sort of kill. But now Prometheus is going to be able to back off and might just be a one kill. We'll see if the Eagles are able to turn this into an objective or not. As Stank is in a little bit of a 1v3 trying to fight him off.
Yeah, there's decent setup, but Jarvan's gonna get really late back. The Viego is already respawning and they're going straight towards the dragon pressure. So I don't think that Jarvan will be able to come back in time at a healthy state. It's gonna be real risky for them to actually contest this dragon now.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, especially with all these Shaco boxes lined up, it's going to be very hard to find an angle without just getting constantly feared and your engage is just completely stuffed before it happens, as the first fear is going to land onto Jarvan. Then the Anivia wall comes out, forces them out. The Anivia ult will come down to try and buy some more space. As Visionary is looking for something, but just can't find anything to connect as the Shaco clone just zones them out even further.
Yeah, you can already see the Shaco had all the setup in the world. There's no way you're able to walk in there, not get feared, and even with the Shaco clone, it's almost impossible to just walk past because you can't ignore it and you can't really kill it or else your entire team will just get feared. As Mike, he's pushing himself and he just dies for it.
That is not what you want to see here, Nick. Just jumping straight into the middle of 3 people to drop a box, and unfortunately not having any flash on this Shaco. That's if you mess up your dash and you go straight into the enemy team, you're definitely not coming out alive. And that's a little bit of a punish as Tark is getting pretty strong here in mid lane, and it's kind of on him at this point to really stem some of this bleeding, and he's kind of the person who has that consistent damage to deal with the Viego at this point before LeBlanc is able to get online.
Yeah, even if LeBlanc goes online in the first place, it's just gonna be really rough to actually get in there.
We'll see if Visionary can find an angle, really try and start poking some people out before some of these objectives, as Tark is looking for something using that Akshan invisibility, but ends up not finding anything, as we might get a little bit of a fight for this Herald, but all 5 members of the Eagles have collapsed, and Demons still have their bot lane committed down in the bot side, so they should just look to give this up, but the Eagles are a bit hesitant to start this up. Even though they know it's a 3v5, they don't really have the confidence to just do it. As it's going to be a free tower going over to the side of Demons here in bot lane. So the Herald dance is still continuing here, as they might finally now decide to go in onto this, as it's still that numbers advantage of the 3v5 here. They still have Ornn ult, they have Seraphine ult, they have Jarvan ult, they have all the go buttons they need here if anyone decides to walk up. The root lands onto Defoe, change into the charm as Tark dives straight in, looking to pop the Anivia passive, and the Ornn ult should come through and will knock him up enough to get that passive down, and that should be a kill handed over to the Eagles. I'm not entirely sure what the Demons were thinking. They're just constantly posturing around in that 3v5 here. But now Habib has gone a bit too far, and now he's the one caught out. The exhaust comes down to try and slow him down. The Viego ult comes out, but it doesn't find the kill, and now he's the one rooted up. He's getting jumped on, but not quite enough damage comes out. Now this Aphelios is ramping up with these shurikens, as Rake just was unable to find the angle to get in, having popped Ghost, but not able to find anything. The root does land onto Tark, but it's not going to be enough. But Habib went for the crab, and that's going to be his demise, as Stank uses that Gale Force and secures another kill.
Yeah, Habib, he just got caught out by Rake at the tail end there, and actually Rake didn't have an assist. Was it just a greed for the crab? It was just a greed for the crab. That's okay.
Yeah, didn't think that anyone was going to follow him after they originally got out of that Raptors pit, but
Look, he was trying to pull his inner blabbers, okay? He just really wanted the crab.
Well, he didn't flash for it, so is it really blabber?
True, okay, you're right. But as you can tell, the demons do still have a lot of pressure in this game. As we see a quick disconnect.
Oh, we do, and looks like a pause is going to come out, so hopefully this DC won't last for too long. And hoping we get right back into the game. But we will keep you updated if we hear anything. But for now, Kamuchi, what do you think of the game state so far?
What I think is I haven't been watching for quite a bit trying to do admin stuff, so
So what you're saying is it's perfect.
it's perfect. I still think that demons are still ahead in the current game state, as they have a lot more teamfight potential. They have a really strong Viego. They have a lot of ultis to steal from, and given the fact that Rake has been given a lot of breathing room in the top lane, especially, I think it's in a more favorable position for demons. But you do see Eagles having a lot of good picks on their priority targets. They're able to get a lot of shutdowns. A lot of gold is actually on Tark right now. So if they're able to make a split pushing menace and get these Akshan resets on him, I think that Eagles has to play around that.
Yeah, it's definitely, we do have the super fed Viego as well, which, Viego, if he can get one reset going, especially if he gets it on someone like a Jarvan, he can just get that reset, get his free access into the back line, then use his reset at all. He can really just snowball these fights really quickly against this rather squishy comp that the Eagles have. I mean, they're outside of the Ornn, they don't really have anyone who wants to take any damage. The Jarvan, in some cases, could be more of a tanky frontline, but with his current build rush, it doesn't really seem like that's the angle that he is going for. So we'll have to see if maybe the Viego and the Akshan are kind of the two main points of interest to watch as this game progresses. But I think we are going to throw it to a quick break here while we wait for the teams to get back into it, and we'll be back once this pause has been resolved.
A summoner has disconnected. A summoner has reconnected. A summoner has reconnected.
We are back into it here as the disconnect issues seem to have been resolved.
But immediately
As-
going to the action as Mike's Revenge is in the top side.
And we just go straight. I think maybe it's just the spectator pause bug. Might be what the issue is. We'll see. But coming back to the state of the game, the Demons are 2,000 gold ahead, roughly right now. As
Alright, going back, Mike's Revenge is going to the top lane, ganking. Cool 313.
yeah, I think he's just gonna be able to walk away from that. I don't think the Shaco gank is all too scary when he's not even getting behind you. But Prometheus is completely caught out by this Viego as someone who is scary and will decide to back off here.
Yeah, they might look for something on the Viego. He is alone.
The Akshan is going to go straight in, but the Seraphine ult just doesn't quite find the angle. They're still looking for him, and they're going to force the ult out, which is a good trade. But now Mike's Revenge just walking way too far forward, and he's going to trade a kill back over. And that's been a couple times now where we've seen this Shaco just jump way too far forward when no one else was ready for him to go. As now Nivea's trying to clear the way from behind it, and I don't think that's really the angle Defoe wants to be in. Is now he just gets straight ulted, and without flash he has no way to get out of here. But there's really no damage coming out from the Eagles, but it finally lands, but he trades it back as he lands the crit from the E, and LeBlanc will go down in the trade. So overall 1-for-1, and now Tark is getting traded on his Stank. Doesn't quite find the ult right. He flashes straight forward, but gets immediately exhausted. That comeuppance comes out, but it gets blocked by the pickup of the Seraphine. But the revive comes out from Tark as he revives two of his teammates before going down. But now Ornn is in a world of hurt as he has to flash away from the rest of the three members and see if he can get to this blast cone. The stun does land, and now he can't take this blast cone to safety. We'll take it back over into the Dragon Pit, but I think he has no option here but just maybe stall for a couple more seconds, but he will be eventually going down. That will buy enough time for Jarvan to get back here. We'll see if he looks for another cheeky steal. He already stole the first dragon, and he does have vision of this one and his flash as well, so maybe he can get out. He goes in, but the dragon resets and starts to healing up, and well done by the Demons to wait out the dragon health as soon as Habib jumps in. Is now
it's only second drag. You don't really have to blow anything for it. You don't have to try to force stuff. You should be trying to at least get vision control in the top side. Like Jarvan didn't really need to blow his flash just to try to get Dragon Steel.
Yeah, it's unfortunate he won't have that, especially when he knows that this Aphelios and this Anivia don't have flash. You definitely like to just be able to flash Cataclysm onto this backline and set up for your carries. Now Tark is going straight in, but he does not want to trade back. His Stank barely gets away with that Gale Force. As another ult committed by the Eagles and not finding any traction with it, as they're posturing around this top side, but nothing really up here for them to get besides maybe this red buff, but that would be a little risky. But Mike's Revenge is walking straight face first into two members he does not want to see, but he is able to get out as the chain tether does not connect. And that is one lucky Shaco right there.
Yeah, that was clutch of his. He was really holding into his butt cheeks right there.
It's definitely not a prospect that I think any support envies, is walking into a bush that just happens to have a LeBlanc and an Akshan hiding in it. But luckily for him, he's able to get out as both teams kind of resetting here. Not really seem sure of what they really want to accomplish, as we have a lot of people just congregating around this mid side. And We'll see if the Demons maybe want to try and force something with their numbers advantage here. As they know LeBlanc is in bot lane with no TP, but they don't really have a lot of options to force anything. Their hard engage is a Viego stun or an Anivia stun. So not too much action. As now Ku is in a bit of trouble here as he's fighting off 3 members, but will get to the safety of his turret, and now his team is collapsing. See if he buys time here with this ultimate as he's trying to clear out the wave, and then will immediately just pop that ult. They're really just trying to take this tower, but it's just going down so fast, not fast enough as there's no minion wave. Now this Viego's getting stunned up. He already has to flash and ult away, but now Rake is stuck in the Cataclysm from the Jarvan. He's going to go down, and we'll see if Tark wants to try and continue here. Looking for this Viego, but I don't think he'll find his Viego actually takes the stun and goes straight back in. And now the comeuppance is going to come out, but I think it's going to get blocked by the turret. Stank is in the back line trying to 1v1.
But oh, he actually almost got 2 kills from that.
Yeah, unfortunately, just not quite enough damage as the LeBlanc comes in to finish him off. And now this might just be a Baron here. They know Viego is around half health in Anivia's bot lane with no TP, so not a lot of steal threat here as the Viego doesn't have ult or flash as long as they just zone him out here. With the LeBlanc using all of her abilities on the Baron, Viego might just be able to block himself in here, but no vision. He's going to have to guess on when to go in, and he's just going to give it up. And that's going to be a Baron earned over to the Eagles, really
but Rake is
pulling them back in here. But
these Barons.
Yeah, Rake TP straight back in, but it's still in a 5v2 and is going to go down before backup can land. And now Viego is in a bit of trouble here. No flash, no ult, not able to find the reset. But as he says that, he barely finds the reset onto Ornn. But it's not enough, as now Mike's Revenge has to run for his life. As the Akshan just gets immediately feared out of his dash, feared again with another box. And this Viego, or this Shaco should be able to get out of here, but that's what they ended up. Did they trade 1 kill back there? Just got 1 Baron up for the exchange of the TP and 2 members as well. So
yeah, they were able to get the 2nd tier tower in the bot side. Well, 3rd tier actually. They didn't have tower. The Anivia was able to split push that, so they did get some gold in their pockets. I think it was more of a play of stop the backs and have the Anivia push as much as you can.
Yeah, maybe just a bit aggressive there from the Demons, trying to force that 3v5 as they were retreating. They saw the low health bars, but they just didn't have the cooldowns either. If Viego had ult at the start of that fight, they probably could just clean it up and get a clean ace there, but with Viego being so limited without flash or ult, it's not able to find the priority targets to really get resets going, only getting his first reset at the very end. So
yeah, but 3rd Dragon is coming up here soon. We all don't know both of these teams have been fighting tooth and nail for these dragons, whether it be good for them or not.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely expect to see a bit of bloodshed here as Tark is in the top lane, but he does have TP, but it's a little difficult to TP your Akshan into a fight.
Yeah, they don't really have good flanking wards. It looks like they're just trying to go for the tower pressure on top and mid side as the Demons are fully committing for this dragon.
And maybe just looking for another Jarvan Steel healer here. He's going to go in, but he's not going to find the steal this time. Has to flash away.
Don't worry. He's 2 for 2 on flashes for dragon.
Unfortunately, he did not get either of those dragons, but they were able to secure a lot of towers with that trade. I would have liked to just see them, accept trading the gold for the dragon instead of committing your Jarvan flash, looking for a, hopeful steal. But in the end, it didn't cost them too much, as now they're getting a lot of tower pressure here in this bot side. Using this Baron buff they still have left, is Stank is finally here to show up, but I don't think he can walk up to contest here.
Yeah, Mike is trying to do Shaco things, just trying to be a nuisance at the moment, but it doesn't look too... The fate of this first tier tower in the bot lane looks very grim.
Yeah, it's Shaco so far doesn't really seem to have too much of an impact besides, a couple annoying fears here and there, but nothing too consequential has really happened. As the Demons were looking to siege something in this mid lane, but really no tower pressure between Anivia and Viego, so not much will happen here. And if we take a look at the gold, it used to be, considerable gold lead for the Demons, but now dead back to even gold. So the Eagles have really found themselves, back into this game. They just really have to worry about this Dragon Soul that's going to be coming up here in the next couple minutes, and definitely don't want to give that one over.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue is where all the gold is located, right? Like, Demons only has to worry really about the auction, considering that's where all the gold is funneled to. A lot of the rest of the gold, the Eagles are falling a bit behind in all their lanes. A lot of
Oh, and
the
it looks like Prometheus might be getting caught out here as he throws that Encore out, and it's actually just barely not enough CC to lock down the Viego, but the comeuppance comes out, but it's tanked up by those honey fruits as he's able to heal up. And no one goes down, but summoners were burned off this auction. No more flash.
yeah, that one. Yeah, it puts Akshan in a really awkward spot as he gets stunned up here. Oh, if that wall landed.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't see the Ornalt come out there. They know it's a 4v5, and they were all kind of clumped up in that, river. They knew it would take some time for the TP to come in, but decided against looking for that re-engage. So in the end, everyone will back off with no one going down, but that important summoner, like you mentioned, Akshan is really a lot of this team's golden. Without having flash, he's going to be very vulnerable to any sort of pick.
Yeah, no trigger figure coming out as Mike's revenge. You can see how strong this Akshan is already.
Yeah, losing half your health from an auto and a Q, maybe not the best. But we'll see. He's got a couple more levels under him. I believe he's maxed out his boxes at this point, so you can see 4 of them just scattered in the mid lane. If they walk anywhere besides straight down the lane, they're in for a little bit of inconvenience.
Yeah, it's not inconvenience. I think the next fight is gonna have to be towards this Baron, but I'd like to see some more macro play. There's a lot of setup you have to do for this, especially since all of Eagle's waves have just been getting pushed into the towers, and there isn't really a wave build up coming in to set anything up. I guess it just splits up their members, right?
Yeah, I mean, both teams really have kind of seem like they're struggling to know what to do in terms of this downtime situation between dragons, as we just see a lot of congregation around this mid lane, just looking to see if someone makes a mistake or steps too far forward. As Ku might have done that, but he's a tanky boy and will be able to get himself out. But it really seems like what both teams have been doing for the past couple minutes is just seeing if someone decides to step too far forward, as Defoe gets double chained up here by the LeBlanc, but not enough follow-up. But Tark is looking to take this 1v1 onto Gwen, has already lost almost all of his HP, but uses that ult to heal some back and get the slow, and is trying to run away. He knows Viego is in his back pocket, so if Akshan goes too far forward, he could be in for a lot of trouble here, as he's looking to just spin his way to safety, but the flash into the ult comes out from the Viego as they're looking to take down Akshan, but he doesn't quite have enough damage to trade the kill back with a good stopwatch coming out of Rake. And that's the strongest member down here right as this dragon is being set up.
This is gonna be Soul Point, and the Ocean Drake for their members isn't. It's gonna be so rough considering how much burst Eagles sort of rely on with the auction and LeBlanc build currently. With Dragon setting up, it's just going to leave a lot of room for the Shaco to set up, and actually the Shaco is just hovering around mid as they start off the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they're trying to 2-man this. Jarvan is looking for the steal, while at the same time Visionary is looking for a pick onto Rake. He has no ult, he's been pushed up pretty far here, but the Shaco is finally finding the Jarvan and forcing him out, so that's going to be a soul handed over. And looks like Rake is going to get out as well, so just one pick on this auction gives them a free soul, and now it's going to be really important that the Eagles find a straight one-shot on some of these squishy members, because they really lack some of that consistent damage, as it's hard for the auction to really deliver the consistent damage, as we get a nice read on the tooltip of what Merc Treads do. Looks like we are just posturing here around this Baron, seeing if they can start up, but we can really see the damage that Defoe is putting down here. Now on 3 items here on this Inhibi, he is very tanky and has enough AP to really start threatening any of these more melee members who really haven't built up any sort of MR. Ornn has a bit of MR, but besides that, there is really nothing stopping the Anivia from just controlling these choke points and forcing everyone out. As we're Still getting lots of posturing. I don't think anyone's really making a lot of progress here on this Baron. It's very risky for either team to really start this one up, but we'll continue this ARAM as now Viego has found the pick.
Immediate exhaust coming out. That's actually pretty huge considering how much assassination potential both teams have.
Yeah, he did get both summoners, and now he's going in for more. The wall is able to lock him in as Tark actually gets stuck. It has to try and weave his way out of the wall, but Viego's going in, trying to trade it back, but it's not enough. And now the Ornn ult comes out, comboed with the Jarvan, and they lock everyone down in place. But now the kite back has started. You can see this lack of damage coming out. The Jarvan has already gone down. Rake is just separating the backline from the rest of his team. And now Stank finally gets in there with the Chakrams, with that Gale Force, dashes straight in there and gets a triple kill for himself. And this should at least be a Baron from this angle. Maybe they just look to push down mid and take some structures. But look, they'll finally turn around, let Rake take this up, and they'll secure themselves a Baron.
Yeah, it looked like a really good choke point at first. The Eagles had gotten probably the strongest member, but just letting the Aphelios free hit the entire time, not having any more burst potential for the Aphelios, that was just a 200 years moment right there.
That it was. Really saw once LeBlanc used all of her burst onto Viego to try and help finish him off. The Akshan was kind of separated off, stuck in kind of the back line as he got chunked really low. And after that, I mean, there's no way that Jarvan and Ornn are just going to dive in and kill this Aphelios when he still has Flash and Barrier. So it's going to be really hard for them to execute. But now Rake is a bit caught out. Will use that miss, but now he's stuck inside the Cataclysm. But Tark is stuck outside the Cataclysm, so they weren't able to get anything from it. And just a trade of ults for the mid and jungle. But you can see it's going to be really hard for the Eagles to try and continue playing out these fights, as they really don't have the tools to deal with the Viego and get onto Stank at the same time. As Viego is in a bit of a precarious situation.
Against the Akshan, it should be fine. He has the ulti. That Viego ulti is always on the roll cooldown.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that trading your ult for Gromp is necessarily worth it, but we'll see if anything happens before that ult comes back off cooldown. As Visionary's looking for something, but it just gets immediately rooted up, and now Habib gets feared up, and now the Encore comes out. Just not getting anything from it, and they're just sieging down these turrets with no real answer coming out from the Eagles, as they also really lack a wave clear they need. Aphelios needs to be able to hit the wave, and obviously that is not happening here. As now Ku is sectioned off from the wall, and just another flash force by this Anivia. Just sectioning off one member of the team from the other as the siege will continue. Oh, but the Anivia gets a little bit caught out. They commit all for it, but all they get is the shield popped. But it's not going to be enough. The Anivia finally goes down, but Viego is able to get away. He gets the reset on the Jarvan, and now he's looking to go back in, but he misses his flag and drag. Unfortunately, he will not be able to get himself in there, but this game is looking all but over as the Demons continue to force their way down mid lane, as Tark has to be very careful. Is almost caught out, but Visionary gets caught out by the stun and has to dash away, losing his passive. Now there's Baron Buff and Ocean Soul. Do they look to end the game here? And it looks like there's a bit of a mixed calls as two members look to end, two members look to go onto the sidelines. And they will, at the very least, secure this bot lane inhibitor.
This is where you call some interesting macro play as. They're still trying to find something. Stank gets half health.
Big damage comes out onto Stank, but it's just not enough to finish it off. And now the fear comes out. Oh, the stun is a little bit wide, and Visionary is able to get himself to safety, but once again, they are chunked out, forced back to their base, but now they are up as a 5-man unit. Might be difficult for the Demons to try and end here, but they're TPing back in with the Anivia coming back in as they're looking to end this game. Baron Buff has fallen off, but the Encore goes wide, not finding anything, as Rake is using that ult just to start poking people down. He actually gets the execute with it, going straight in, but in turn gets executed, and that revive actually comes straight back onto the Seraphine, who's now back into the fight. A huge Cataclysm come out into a knockup, and that's Stank going down as this LeBlanc is just finding all the priority targets. The Anivia is forced into egg, and that's going to be a clean ace and a quadra kill going over to Visionary.
That was just a pure war of attrition that I feel like Demons pushed a bit too far. Demons had so many resources put into so many different areas. They got triple inhib, but it looked like the team was just on like 5 different angles and how to play the game.
Yeah, and they might lose Elder here. I think Tark and Habib should be able to take this out before anyone can respond. No one is up for another 5 seconds, and that's just going to be the Shaco. It's another 10 seconds before Rake on this Gwen or Viego responding. They do have minions that Rake could TP to once he spawns, but this Dragon is down, and that's going to be a little bit of respite here for the Eagles, but they might get caught in this pit here as they're looking to back. But Rake decides against blindly running into them, so...
Yeah, they do get the back off, and that's a really big power spike. All things considered, with that war of attrition that happened in their own base, being able to burn through everyone's defenses just with the true damage of Elder Drake, that's just gonna be a lot of vulnerability towards demons, and we'll see if they decide to try and fight them with Elder Drake, or if they're just gonna position for the Baron and trying to see if they can get a pick off. But it buys so much time for Eagles. Oh no.
Yeah, they can definitely just use this Elder to, by that time where they have these double super minions in every single wave, there's not a whole lot the demons can do to stop them from just farming, so they'll get a lot of gold back into their pockets with this little bit of delay as, we can see that Akshan is now full build, so should hopefully be giving over a lot of this farm to his teammates. As I don't think he's realistically going to get any stronger this game besides getting that 500 gold to buy potions, but a lot of gold being funneled into the Eagles at this point. We can see even though the game, there was a decent gold lead built up after those last couple fights for the Demons, it's now back to even again just because of how much gold they're just freely picking up here. But at the very least, the Demons should just be able to pick up this Baron on spawners. Eagles can't really do anything to contest it.
Yeah,
they kind of look like they're trying, but...
A lot of the Elder Drake was just used to defend the base. They have triple inhib, there's constant super minions coming in, but even with all these Shaco boxes, they can't even walk in as Jarvan almost gets stunned up.
Yes,
able to channel this Flag and Drag through the knockup of the wall.
Yeah, we'll see what happens once this Elder Dragon does fall off. How much time left they have on these super minion waves, or you'll see if they can use this Baron to at least reset all these minion waves in. Or reset all these inhibitors once they spawn again and take them out once more. But until this Elder falls off, demons are kind of just hanging out waiting to see if they can find any sort of angle. As Tark is fishing for something, but smartly no one walks up too close to really...
Tark's sort of just stuck there. I don't think they realize.
Yeah. Does get a little stuck, but no one there to follow up as everyone is stuck in their base. And now that the Elder Dragon has worn off,
all demons has to do is guide the super minions. They don't have too much wave clear or AoE wave clear, especially against baroned up minions.
Yeah, as the mid lane inhibitor respawns just in time for it to go down again. Is not sure that the demons. Oh, the fear lands on the Visionary. He's forced to burn the cleanse, but now there's a good combo of ults. Stank just gets a huge ult and executes everyone. And now the resets have come in for Viego, and this is just going to be the end of the game. As Stank flashes over the wall, trying to secure another kill, pad those stats just a little bit more. But the demons are going to take game 1 in their series against the Eagles.
Yeah, just a slow and steady Baron play there. They knew that any kind of actually Stank wasn't even there. He was trying to chase down the Ornn. As any mistake would have ended the game, and Eagles was truly trying. That was really well played. What fights they were able to get in their favor.
Yeah, just found themselves in a really rough position based off just how the early game went with the team comp they had. They really had to start a snowball going and we just saw how they had such little threat on the back line. With how much disruption the Viego was able to put out, and how much area of control the Anivia provided, just separating the team. And there's just really no hope for the Jarvan or Ornn at that point to really get in there and do anything. So with the demons, securing themselves, that win, they're one game away from securing themselves at the very least 8th place and going to playoffs. So definitely a series that the demons really want to win. As if they lose this, it could spell disaster for the season. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see if demons are able to secure themselves a playoff spot, or if the Eagles are going to bounce back and take us to a game 3. And we are back for game 2 between Demons and Eagles, as the Eagles have selected to go to red side for their game 2. See if they can find a bit more success there, as very similar bans coming out here. Notable difference is that Aphelios and Viego are both taken out off the board for the Eagles.
Yeah, a lot of respect coming in for after that first game, as the Stink is a one-trick Aphelios main, and I'm surprised they didn't ban it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, you know, tip to everyone, when there's someone who performs significantly better on a single champion than everything else, it's maybe wise to make them prove they can play something else.
But look, Mike's Revenge has Shaco up once again.
True. We'll see if they decide to early rotation it again. But you know, instead, might just look for a Cho'Gath. Try to be a little bit cheeky with a flexible Cho'Gath pick here. You never know where it's going.
Yeah, after what we saw in LCK, it could go balling for all I care.
That's a very, very interesting pick here. You know, it did get you know pretty big buff in terms of his mana cost, and I think also the cooldown on his Q. So it's a lot better in melee versus ranged matchups or non-tank matchups top lane. So
This looks like a Prometheus brand coming in here. He's been on this brand. He's been on like all these range full AP characters, and I'm just surprised that he's going all or nothing this game. It's literally for a playoff spot, and we'll see how well he can do with it.
their whole season really on the line here, as if they lose this game and the Waffles win their game, the Eagles are out. So if the Eagles lose this, they really need the Waffles to also lose. And then I'm not even sure they wouldn't even control their own destiny after that point, if the Waffles would just have to win one of 2 games. So Eagles really don't want this to be their last game that defines whether or not they get into playoffs or not, as the Shaco is not going to be locked in against. We're going to get the Blitzcrank. So definitely a different look coming out of this Demon's bot lane.
Huge respect. I was not expecting that at all.
Hey, you know, you see the blind brand locked in, you say, hey, that's someone who doesn't have anything that can disrupt my hook and has no mobility. Let's lock in the Blitzcrank. But the Kog'Maw would be an interesting pairing to go with it, and that's what they're going to lock in. So
I think Kog'Maw is another comfort pick for Stink, though. I think it's another pick that Stink can similarly play with, especially with how late the game goes. But it looks like Eagles are challenging them with the Tristana hover right now.
And it definitely seems like more of a Tark pick here to go with this Tristana. More lean towards it going more mid lane than bot lane, but could definitely go either way. And if it went bot lane, it would definitely be a very aggressive lane for the Eagles, looking to just jump past the Blitzcrank and go straight onto the Kog'Maw with all this damage they have.
And they're just banning out the entirety of last game. There goes the Nivea ban.
All right, what do you think? We're gonna get the we get the Gwen ban here? I guess it's the only champion left they could ban. I mean, they could ban Shaco, but I don't think
they would ban either Gwen or Shaco, considering Cho'Gath. So it's looking like it's gonna be a top lane.
Hey, you never know.
Defo
could pull out this Cho'Gath. Or maybe they just want to be extra sure that none of the champions from last game are coming out.
Look, they're just here to fuck with us, okay?
We'll see what they do end up going with here, as have a couple seconds left here. I wouldn't mind just seeing another Defoe ban here. Ban one of his more safe picks. Maybe the Lux ban comes out, or something to that effect. Is gonna go with the Malzahar. So,
and there goes the Aurelion Soul. They do think that the Tristana is going AD carry probably. That, or they just really don't like Aurelion Soul. I do like the Ornn ban though. Ornn was quite a factor in a lot of the team fights from last game. And with the chain CC, what turned around a lot of the fights. So I guess see where Eagles go with that in the top side.
Yeah, the Aurelion Soul ban's a little weird, because I mean, Tark and the Eagles have found most of their success with him on these aggressive, and then we really get confirmation it's going to be a Tristana mid. These aggressive like AD mid lanes. He's been playing a lot of Akshan, Tristana, stuff like that. Aurelion Sol doesn't really seem like a champion the Eagles would lock in, so they have kind of a mid laner that's useless for the first half of the game. But Demon's respecting it anyway and banning the Varus coming out for Visionary, so that's a lot of damage and a lot of harass coming out of this Eagles bot lane. So it's really going to be on Blitzcrank to try and land the hooks as we get a Malphite locked in. So that could be a response to this Tristana and just go Malphite mid lane, or Cho'Gath could be jungle.
Do you think it could be Kog'Maw mid lane as well?
I think that would be a really poor decision to put this Kog'Maw mid lane against Tristana. As it takes a really long time for an AP Kog'Maw mid to really scale up and even be able to clear the wave by himself. So they're going to go with the Kayn jungle. So we'll see if they decide to put this Cho'Gath or Malphite mid. I expect the Malphite goes mid as more of like the prototypical, I'm going to respond to a bunch of AD champions. But I also think Cho'Gath would be a better fit just to be in mid lane.
I mean, you never know.
It would be a worse lane.
A lot of stats to take away from a multitude of Demon's Calm. And it could practically be an AP Varus as well, if you think about it. They would run up Eagles Comp a lot better. I actually really like Eagles Comp right now. It has a lot of versatility, but if they're not able to get past a lot of the engage that Demons has, then their early game is going to be rough.
Yeah. Especially if they fall behind and they just have to start respecting every angle for a possible Blitzcrank hook, it could get really hard for him to play out the game. But if they can kind of have a stable laning phase, I mean, with the brand Varus, they offer a lot of poke. And if Blitzcrank misses those first couple hooks, the Demons can really be put in a really bad situation in bot lane, because it's not like Kayn really wants to come bail them out early either. With the Eagles having this vibe pick, they really have winning lanes kind of across the board in terms of push. They might not have too much kill threat in mid lane, but they at least have push everywhere. And we'll see what Habib can do with that priority, the lane priority, to really invade and put some pressure down on these lanes or on the Kayn to kind of snowball the Eagles into some early advantage that they can try to capitalize on.
Yeah, I think considering what we saw from the first game, this could very much be a blue Kayn as well. I can see Cryo looking to pull off an assassination. He wasn't able to do it as much in the last game, but with a Kayn, I think the execution is a lot easier to get those assassinations off, especially with this playstyle of what we've seen so far.
Yeah, definitely. And going red Kayn probably isn't the most advisable when you're trying to tank up 280 carries in a brand. You probably just want that extra mobility and assassination threat from blue Kayn. But we will have to see how this game plays out. For now, we're going to throw it to a quick break as we wait for the spectator delay to catch up. When we come back, we'll see if Demons can close out a 2-0 and secure themselves playoffs, or if the Eagles will bounce back and take us to Game 3. And we are back for game 2 between Demons and Eagles. As the Demons are looking to maybe find something cheeky here, but are spotted out in the flash.
Media flash from Tark. Like, you get the Blitzcrank in debate. You get the flash. That's worth it in his book.
Yeah, so that is a very good trade. My attention, however, is drawn to the inventory of the Kog'Maw. Oh, he's realized it. He's channeling that recall.
No, that's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's a flute. I swear. But that does give a bot lane a lot of breathing room, all things considered.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about any sort of flash knockups at level 2, so we'll see how well this flash can be punished on either side, as we do in fact see the Cho'Gath mid lane. So that is Defoe that's going to be the one piloting that, so I think, in terms of that, is Mike's Revenge doesn't really want to take this 2v1.
They were afraid. They backed off immediately. You see that? That's what you call a Blitzcrank diff.
Alright, but, everyone will eventually get into lane relatively unharmed, as just a couple flashes burned, nothing too impactful.
Okay, looking good for Defoe already. Landed the first knockup onto the Tark.
Alright.
That's how you win mid lane, alright?
Yep. That one right there. As long as you land the first bit of damage in your lane, you've already won.
Insane.
But you can see this early on here, it's going to be a little bit hard for Tristana to really force out the Cho'Gath, because just how much sustain Cho'Gath gets from just CSing. So until Tristana really has a couple components to actually boost those auto attacks, Cho'Gath is kind of okay with just ignoring the Tristana's auto attacks every once in a while and just sustaining back up with the CC. But now a fight's breaking out in top lane, but Malphite hit 2 first. Trundle can't find the minions to hit 2 and is going to have to back away, so good punish by Rake in that, level 2 advantage, taking an opportunity for those, very few times where he can actually trade with the Trundle.
Yeah, looking like in a good spot at the moment, as he also did Corrupting Potion, a little bit more extra damage off that burning.
Yeah, and he's already used all stacks, so I think he's really just wants to shove this cannon wave and then just reset here. Reset his stacks. And there it looks like he's going to do just that, because it would definitely get risky to continue staying in that lane with no more sustain left. But should just buy himself a coal real quick and start walking his way.
This game.
Yeah, walk back up the top lane as Tark is getting a bit of shove here, forcing Defoe back, and the bomb actually will do a decent amount of damage here as Defoe's not quite able to find these last hits. So missing out on a little bit of sustain, but still does have the teleport when needed. Would probably like to catch a couple more waves before being forced to burn that. But the Blitzcrank looking for something here, but the hook goes just wide, and now he's got to be in trouble here as the trade comes back on here. The passive gets procced from the Brandons. They're looking for the all-in, but Kane is here to try and match it. We'll see if he can do anything. Oh, the flash forward by Visionary. And now Habib is here. He's going to flash Vault Breaker and force the flash out from the Kane, as they're going to force their all the way back, and they actually force the flash out of Kog'Maw with that Brand Stun coming back in as a good trade back from this bot lane, as they get a kill for themselves and force more summoners, forcing everyone back. And now Habib is looking for a bit of a dive here, as
he knows Kog'Maw has
all
no
alone. He has no summoners, as Habib's going to go onto this Kane first. Got to avoid this Blitzcrank hook, but should be fine here, as there's not a lot of damage to follow up on him. As the Blitzcrank is just looking to harass, but it's going to end up costing Kane his life, as he gets tagged by an arrow. Now Stank is still trying to survive, but the Brand lands the Pillar of Flame, and Visionary is able to finish it off. Really well done here for this early start by the Eagles, really punishing this kind of makeshift bot lane duo, and off to a huge lead already.
Yeah, that was just in general really awkward. Like, not having the Blitzcrank hook in the beginning of that's basically all your setup. Kane doesn't really have anything to actually try and be able to make the gate work. It's just a small trade happening in the mid lane.
Yeah, as long as Tristana buffers that jump properly and doesn't get interrupted on the Rupture. Not really too much threat. Will be in a bit more threat once Cho'Gath hits 6 here, but You know, it's not too bad as long as you make sure that you don't get hit by, multiple ruptures in a row. You can always just rocket jump away if they need to. And now Habib is here, looks to at least force the flash out of Cho'Gath, but Cho'Gath still has E. He's just going straight for the trade, but he doesn't have enough mana. And he's going to go down.
Oh, that was so close. Just a bit more mana and he would have had it as Rake hits level 6 first and Trundle has...
He has no mana either, but he flashes forward for the auto and trades the flash back on the Trundle. So once again, Rake finding the XP advantage on a critical level breakpoint. He's opening up a pretty big CS lead here in this top lane as well. Has a lot of pressure, and you saw there, really punishing the poor trades from this Trundle and doing a lot better than you would expect a Malphite would be doing in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, looking good in top lane, but for the rest of the team, they're sharing quite the scoreline at the moment as it's not looking too great. We'll see how well the Kayn is actually able to get his form, because I feel like at the moment he's able to get his form, it'd be a lot more beneficial in these games. It'd be a lot more beneficial in trying to snowball the game out of it.
Yeah, and let me look at Kog'Maw here. Is Rageblade first the typical Kog'Maw build? I'm not entirely caught up on my meta Kog'Maw builds here, but seems like maybe you typically go for more of a Winsu's second item, but Prometheus actually gets pulled in by the hook, but both junglers are here, and they're actually going to force the summoners out of Blitzcrank as he has to flash away to safety, so even when they land the hook, they still lose the summoner tree.
Yeah, they have to blow so much just right and try for anything, but now Eagles has initial pressure on this dragon, and I don't think that Demons has too much to even contest this.
Yeah, maybe Kayn can look for a steal, but no, it's just going to be secured by the Eagles. Starting that dragon stacking here, a little before 8 minutes, get that first one. They have about a 1,500 gold lead. We'll see if they try to rotate over to this Herald and really keep this gold snowball and pressure going, as the Trundle was able to catch most of that wave that was stacked up and pushed into him under his turret, so catching him nicely in CS here. Now that he has 6, is in a lot less danger of ever being all in by this Malphite if he ever takes a couple bad trades and gets a little low, so.
Yeah, but you can see the Malphite's build currently is purely scaling. He has a coal, he has a corrupting pot, he has a tier.
Yeah, he's just stacking.
He's stacking, he's in a good CS state, he's in a good spot at the moment. But Kayn is spotted out, and Blue is getting contested? Nah, I think they're just backing out.
No, they're just, looking for some vision here. As now we get a rotation up. We'll see if they actually go for this Kayn, as the Vi does have her ult. We'll see if they can find the angle to do so, but Kayn is able to get over the wall. As now Rake is getting a little forced out here, but still has his ult if he needs to. But we'll just use that Q movement speed to get himself away. But Vi is taking this blue buff, and this whole time this bot lane duo is just securing more plates here. Already got one, looking to secure that second one, just not quite able to get it on that wave, but should get it relatively shortly here. As it's actually a 2-level lead right now, open him this top lane, but Brand opens up onto Stank here with that ult. Just barely not enough damage. The Q goes on the Blitzcrank instead of the Kog'Maw, so he's able to live. So that's another summoner burn, more tower pressure. But it looks like they're going to use that pressure to get a reset instead of trying to get those plates, but Kog'Maw's in a really rough spot now. Now having no flash, the Vi still has ult, and her flash has come back up. I think you just send it straight back down into bot lane at this point.
Yeah, with the Rift Herald being started up on Eagle's side, if they're just able to put that down and onto the bot lane and have a whole huge gold lead for Visionary, it's gonna be a great position. But is he going the AD build? No, that's a Nashor's Tooth, right?
For
Visionary, he has an amplifying dome and recurve.
Yeah, that looks like he's looking to go for a Nashor's Tooth. As Brand flashes forward, forcing the flash out of Kayn, and now Tristana jumps straight in onto Kayn. who has to use his ult just to buy time. But Visionary's pulling him back onto their side of the map. And he's going to go down now, Visionary on a killing spree. And it definitely looks like Visionary is looking for that AP build, like you said, with looks like a Naturalist Rush. He also bought an early stopwatch here. You know, make sure he can try and get some value out of that very quickly. But at very least, he'll have a little bit more safety for himself.
Yeah, he is the one with the largest shutdown right now with the 600 gold.
Yeah,
So
he's just protecting his team's money.
Yeah. If that money goes the wrong way, you already know what can happen. As Trundle, he's looking to fight Rake underneath all this pressure, but just goes even trade even with only the ulti.
Yeah, I mean, Charnel just had to use that ult early because he was getting in range where a Malphite ult combo could kill him before he ever had a chance. But the pull comes in straight onto Visionary, but he flashes away, never using the stopwatch. As Stank is able to get a kill and the shutdown, so that's huge gold going over to this Kog'Maw. As the flash forward into the auto in the queue, and it's just barely enough with the minions, but Habib gets pulled into turret, and that's another 600 gold shutdown!
Double shutdowns coming in for the bot side of the demons right now, but all that shutdown, that decent bit of shutdown going to Blitzcrank will help the Blitzcrank be able to possibly roam around. I don't like his choice of boots, all things considered. This is a game where I feel Blitzcrank has to be more of a presence in other lanes than anything.
I mean, looking at the boots, I think it's just the wrong defensive choice. Even if you were going defensive, why wouldn't you go Merc Treads against what you're seeing so far?
AP Bears and the brand with a lot of CC.
Lots of CC. Like, sure, the top side of the map does a lot of auto attacking, but right now you're getting stomped in your lane against 2 mages. So the armor is not going to do too much for him at that point, but we'll see if maybe the auto attack reduction comes in handy in a later fight. As you know, Stank did get that other shutdown gold, so he was able to complete his boots, is almost to his first item here as well. So just, you know, a little bit behind here, but it's very nice for that Kog'Maw just to get a good injection of gold. As now the Vi is getting hooked in, but the Verisalt comes over the top, but there's really no extra damage off of that, as Vi has the escape as the brand was able to find the Kane trying to rotate in. So
yeah, both junglers half shot with this dragon spawn currently, so they're in quite a tricky predicament if they really want to try.
Oh, Tristan is dead!
Oh!
Ooh.
One knockup is all it takes for a Cho'Gath to assassinate a puny Yordle.
Yeah, it's now Defoe's really walking into turret. Ooh, the brand stun goes a bit wide, but the Vi ult immunes the Blitzcrank pulse, so he's able to secure that kill. As now Vi is looking to secure this second one. Mike's Revenge is running for his life and will end up getting away,
but they started the dragon, and it looks like the teams are on 2 different pages.
I mean, Defoe was just being so greedy trying to go for that turret plate.
Yeah, not without going to dragon there. Now the demons has full control over it. They brought down the Trundle, and there's no way to contest anymore.
Yeah, they're just gonna summon this Herald while they're doing dragon here, so maybe they look to try and force in this mid lane. But Malphite is getting some plates up in top lane, so we'll see if they can. I guess plates had already fallen, so maybe he didn't get too much. But Prometheus gets pulled under the turret, and he's gonna go down as well. That's more gold over to this Kog'Maw, but Habib is able to trade it back, but he might be in trouble here, and he will.
No.
And that's a double kill and another shutdown going over to this Kog'Maw. This is the exact opposite of where Eagles want this gold to be going.
And immediate ulti coming in as Rake is now in the mix here.
He does have his ult. He just goes straight in onto the Trundle. Trundle responds back with his ult, but it's not enough. As they finally is able to burn down the Malphite in the end, but you can see when they can't just jump on someone and eliminate them early, it's really hard for them to match the auto attack power this Kog'Maw has at the moment. Especially with Varus going AP, he's much more bursty than you would typically see from an AD carry.
Yeah, I really did not like the call to try and fight underneath the enemy tower. I feel like he should have just gone for the plates that was currently existing. And giving this Kog'Maw even a bit of gold puts him in such a good spot. He already has his Winces built, and the Kog'Maw is like the literal hyper carry of hyper carries for his team right now. I don't like that decision from Eagles, but we'll see how much they're able to push the advantage. They
Oh,
still have one
Blitzcrank is
KS.
just pulling people in, but he's by himself, and he's just gonna
Goodbye.
go down. And
It was nice knowing him. Gotta be honest.
he hit that blind hook. Unfortunately, it was not where he wanted it. Is now Defoe's in a bit of trouble here. He gets ulted straight up. The Tristan just pelting him with auto attacks, but he is tanky. But he will finally go down. His Visionary almost dies, but the Brand is able to finish off that Kog'Maw, getting himself a shutdown. But we have some more action here as Kane was looking for the all-in on Tristana, but wasn't able to get in range to ult. Now Habib is in a bit of trouble as the ult comes out. Both junglers decide just to walk away.
Yeah, the Flash Prowler's Claw tried to get the immediate ulti onto the Tristana, but he wasn't actually able to get any auto attacks or any real damage on, so he must have not been able to get the ult off as well because of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, just Tristana was barely able to get out of range before he was able to get that ult off, so settling just to use his ult to secure his escape. As the teams would kind of take a step back here, and it's almost a 3,000 gold lead going over to the Eagles here. But there is a lot of engage and damage coming out from the Demons, so while they do have a lead, they definitely have to play, respectfully and careful of this engage.
Eagles can easily get punished because they have so many engage options with the Malphite ult, even the pick comp with a Cho'Gath knockup and the Blitzcrank hook. It's just a lot of damage can get through that, and all things considered with Eagles team, there's just a lot of squishy champions up for the taking.
As looks like Trundle is trying to find this engage, but his pillar is just slightly misplaced, and Malphite can just walk away without even using the ult. And now Malphite looking to trade back a bit as he had those grass procs in.
Yeah,
I mean, you can just see how tanky this Cho'Gath is. Look at that, he doesn't even care.
Yeah, I do really like Rake's play currently because he's been able to deny so much gold, so much experience from this Trundle in the first place, just by holding the wave at just right in front of his tower. He's been doing that the entire game, and honestly, it's given him a good lead over the Trundle.
Yeah, definitely. And even though we see that the Eagles have this gold lead, their Vi has 6 of their kills. So their Vi is definitely a large portion of this gold lead, and Vi's not necessarily known as a real big carry threat, really just trying to isolate and take out, the single target before trading their life. So
yeah, you can already see them fishing. Even though second Herald is up, they prefer to get the priority over Dragon Tail right now, as Dragon is spawning within the next minute.
Yeah, just looking to try and stop this Dragon stacking, but definitely getting very risky here. They're walking straight into no vision as the Blitzcrank hook comes out. Both TPs come out as the Varus just hasn't quite been able to do enough damage. As the Malphite finds a huge engage, but at the same time, Trundle's just in the backline, but he just can't get onto the Kog'Maw, who's just erasing him from the map as Rake has gotten the exhaust out of Visionary, almost solo killing him. Now Visionary has to run for his life. He finally uses the stopwatch, but it's going to be for nothing as he goes down. Now Vi comes back in, just trading her life for the Cho'Gath. And that's going to be a 4-for-1 advantage going over to Demons, and pretty much the whole lead that Eagles had is now gone.
Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of... It's so easy for Demons to punish any misposition that Eagles has. There's so many squishy champions, they don't really have frontline, especially considering that both Vi and Trundle are having these full damage.
Oh, Target's hit by the hook!
He was trying to look for something on Stank at the moment, but he's now put himself in quite a tricky situation. He's able to ult and run off.
Oh, Prometheus just jumping straight in, getting those ult bounces. He should trade this back onto Rake, so at least getting 1 kill for himself. But that's, once again, your Brand's flashes down, and he's been a magnet for these Blitzcrank hooks so far, so maybe not a trade you want to take if you're the Brand.
Yeah, I do find Visionary's build interesting as well, since he went the Nashor's Tooth into a Banshee. He's not going for a mythic item just yet, but I do feel like that puts his damage a lot lower than the Kog'Maw's currently.
Yeah, I mean, Visionary, he's normally with the AP build, you're just trying to stack, all this AP and get this really big burst, and the Oh, as we say that, we get a huge pick onto this Kane who gets caught out in the wall and is able to take down. And that's the power of this hard CC they have on the Vi. And they're actually just TPing in to start this Baron, as they will do this pretty fast between all of their percent health damage between the Varus and the Brand, and even the Tristana with Kraken Slayer doing some extra damage here. And they're just going to get a 20-minute Baron off of that pick.
Yeah, there's no vision. The Blitzcrank is laning with a Cho'Gath for some reason. Probably just for protection, or trying to get him pull him a stack probably, but leaves the entire jungle really empty of wards for Eagles just to punish anyone that comes in.
Yeah, now we'll see if they can really push this lead with the Baron buff. It's going to be harder to find the plays as Blitzcrank is looking for something, but there's just no one in the range to really find anything, as they're just going to back off. And Blitzcrank is really going to struggle to find hooks when he's on this back foot. They can just hide behind their minion wave, not really give Blitzcrank an option to get in there. So we'll have to see. As now we get a little bit of a fight here as Blitzcrank has to flash away, but it gets immediately Vi ulted and taken out by the Vi, as the arrow wasn't even needed from the Varus. And they continue on this siege, already with the man disadvantage. And between Blitzcrank being dead and Malphite stuck, but actually Kane just goes straight in. He does so much damage and just immediately executes Visionary. He ends up trading 1-for-1 as Malphite flashes forward to find that ult, and he is able to trade back. And now Prometheus should be dead here. Just one more Rupture, but it's not going to land. As Prometheus, his cooldowns are almost up. Maybe he can find some sort of stun to stop this chase down. But
the fancy speed from Prometheus, but he's unable to just run in a straight line to outrun the enemy team.
Unfortunately, Kog'Maw was just a little bit faster.
It's what you call a zoning knockup from Cho'Gath. You have nowhere else to run except around it. If you get hit by it, then you're dead. If you walk around it, you're dead. There's no win-win situation.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about how, they could just play safe, wait for these minion waves to push in, but they decided to just force it straight onto the Blitzcrank, and they put themselves in a rather awkward position for that Kane just to find a ton of damage coming out as Tark jumps straight in, but no one's still there for him to auto attack. So Baron buff not quite going how they planned it, but at least it gave them some golden XP for killing it, and we'll see if they can put it to use to try and get some map control for this dragon that's going to spawn in minute 30 and try and put themselves on this soul point.
Yeah, there's a couple things I would like to know, as Visionary has a needlessly large rod. Does that
Death Cap.
Does that build into a mythic item?
No.
Do you need a mythic item on AP Varus? That's essentially what I'm asking.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, it just definitely makes sense. The Ludens is just so much magic pen for all this damage, but they're going to find another pick.
We continue talking about this. In terms of itemization.
Yeah, I think he's just going to go Death Cap here third, which, I mean, I think he's just being overly safe between this Nashers into a Banshees. He's really kneecapping his damage, in the hopes of playing safe. He's not going to be the one who gets Blitzcrank hooked, which, I guess works out for him, but we'll have to see as the Malphite ult comes straight in and actually land the huge knockup between Malphite and Cho'Gath, and they're just all going to get destroyed here. As maybe the Kane goes down. Habib is trying to trade back on to the Kog'Maw, and he will do so, but he should go down here as well. The Trundle's not even looking to help. He's just still hitting that top lane turret. But that was a huge engage coming out of the Waffles. I'm not sure which one hit first, if it was the Rupture or the Malphite ult, but one of them procced the Banshee's Veil on the Visionary. He thought he was safe with it. No one reacted with the flash, as everyone who got hit by that combo still had flash, but just weren't expecting it. And there should be another dragon going over to 2 demons as well.
Yeah, demons just drafted themselves a really big wombo combo, especially with the Kog'Maw is going to Titanic Hydra route. He'll have some tankier stats going along with his current build.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the right play. You need to at least get some HP so you can survive this initial engage. And maybe if you survive that, there's not a lot of follow-up damage after the Vi, besides some damage over the top or a bounce with Brand, but we have a bit of a scuffle in top lane, but I think Rake will just walk away with that speed boost, but now Prometheus is looking to get onto Stank. The stun does land, and Tark is just free hitting on him this whole time as Tristana is going to find the kill onto Kog'Maw. The dragon was secured, but that might not matter. But actually, Kane is looking to just execute them all. He lives barely, but is finally taken out. But now Rake is just running straight at Visionary, and really Visionary has nothing he can do. Just trying to proc some more of those blight stacks. Is actually able to kite it out, and now Habib is having to run for his life. And
yeah, but this fight is taking way too long. All Eagles has to do is stall out these two members as Trundle has the full push onto the top inhibitor. He's already got that down. He's going towards mid inhibitor right now.
Yeah, it was a 4v5 that whole time. Is they're still canceling their recalls. They're looking to get some more chain kills, and they will take out Visionary. But Rake might be in a bit of trouble. He's not going to win this fight 1v1, and Habib is going to end up taking that. So overall, I think it was, a little bit favored towards the Demons in terms of kills, and they got the objective, but they lost 2 inhibitors in the process. So we'll see how much map control they lose because of that.
Yeah, the 2 inhibitors is actually a lot of breathing room. Actually, they won't have Visionary.
Oh, Habib, I don't know if you want to jump in here, but Cho'Gath ulted too soon.
Oh, so close!
As Habib is able to get in, but, Cho'Gath at this point really isn't too concerned about the damage coming out of Tristana.
Yeah, he does have the bonus stats from Road already as...
Prometheus caught out, and he's going to go down here.
The story of both these supports is just getting picked off as...
They know Vi's in base. This should just be a free Baron coming over unless Tart can do something to stall them out here. Trundle does have TP when he spawns right now, but he's actually TPing bot lane. He's not interested in fighting here, so we'll see if they can find something, but it doesn't look like it. That's going to be a Baron off of a good pick coming out from the Demons. And that should be able to slow down this game considerably until they get the super minions all cleared out.
I mean, I understand with the angle that Trundle is going for, because he's not really too useful in these team fights. He's just trying to provide a macro play as... Does he ever win against a Malphite when Malphite all he has to do is build armor?
Yeah, I mean, you see here that it's just so easy for Malphite. Even if he gets into a losing situation, he always has his ult to run away. He can hit you with his Q and just steal your movement speed and just run away faster, so... Not really any kill threat here unless, Malphite makes some really big mistakes, but... like you were saying, just a really greedy play by Habib looking for some sort of pick that ended up costing his team the Baron off of him having to reset it.
You can see both these top laners. They sort of just don't care about each other, but a teleport is forced.
Yeah, the TP comes out from Cho'Gath, but we'll see how much time Trundle can buy here, but it's not like there's anything really for his team to get besides the base of Demons, so he should just go down here eventually once they find the damage, as the Malphite ult finally comes out into the Cho'Gath Nom, and that'll be a kill secured and another stack going over there, so...
I understand buying time, but I don't think Demons can really do much with 2 inhibitors being down. I think it's just a lot of gold going into their pockets, but they are scaling harder and later into this late game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Demons are completely fine with this. They're working on a 4th item going over to Kog'Maw.
Is that
they now have
Randuin's?
I believe so. He's decided he has enough damage between what he has, and now he's just trying to stop Vi from killing him, but Vi's going straight in. He flashes away to get away from this Varus, and there's really no follow-up damage coming out just yet.
All honesty, respect the Mike for grabbing the Vi, helping protect his Kog'Maw.
Yeah, the Blitzcrank just peeling for his Kog'Maw, sacrificing himself, and then Kane was able to get out the Varus ult. That will be up before Dragon spawns here, so not the biggest of cooldowns to burn, but this Dragon is going to be really important for either team to kind of put pressure on the other teammate, putting themselves on Soul Point to try and dictate some of the pace of the game, because Eagles have really been losing control of the game over these past, 3-4 minutes here. And I'm not sure they really want to take just a straight-up 5v5 fight either. I'm not sure how they really kill this front line.
Yeah, if anything, they have to play it like really slow, because it's gonna take a really long time for Tristana, even this Varus, to just get through these health bars, even as much max health damage Varus has.
Yeah, you're really relying on this brand damage plus a big burst of damage from the Varus to try and at least force the front line back, but Habib's got to be careful.
Oh,
Barely is able to
playing with
outrange that
fire.
hook. And they're just starting this. Tark took a recall. I believe he got his bloodthirst off here, but now he's not in a position. But Cho'Gath is having to answer top wave, and with no TP, just force out the jungler and secure that for themselves. So those inhibitors, those last waves of the super minions paying off.
Yeah, third dragon coming in for the Eagles. It looks like they're gonna have to play towards the towards Soul Plane into Elder if they're ever gonna be able to try to get past like all of these defenses that demons are just able to build.
Yeah, and I would like to see Prometheus. Looks like he might be going for a demonic third. I would like to see him just get a void staff. He's really the threat to these HP and MR stacking frontline of this Cho'Gath, but we're actually going to get a fight here as Malphite is looking for an angle here, hasn't quite found it to look for the engage, but the Varus ult lands and immediately Blitzcrank goes down, but the CC comes in as the Malphite ult finally finds a 3-man knockup, but Tark just jumps right past him and they execute the rest of the team, and now Defoe's just stuck all by himself in a 1v4, tanking up lots of damage, but he just doesn't have the return damage he needs with his flash and ult already burned.
These are 40-second timers. They might have enough time. They have both marksmen available to push, and as much wave clear as Cho'Gath has, I don't think a Roa plus a Demonic is going to be enough to get past.
Yeah, he can definitely take out these caster mains with just the Q, but we'll see. He looks like he's going for the champions instead of the minion, and Tristana is just destroying the turret. But Vi actually goes down. He lands another Rupture on the Visionary. He has the ult. He just needs to get in range to use it. But he keeps getting kited out. The Nexus is now open, but they're going to have to retreat away from this Cho'Gath. But the Varus ult comes out, and they actually take down the Cho'Gath. And now the Blitzcrank is just fodder there as finally the rest of the team respawns. But then Kane just goes straight in and goes down.
They're just funneling in one at a time, man.
Oh, but the Trundle, you cannot tank up that Kog'Maw. They need Tark just to find something, but an ult comes out and he actually lands on the Tark and he's going to go down as well. Now the chase is on. One more Q will get him in range for the slows. And there's just a little bit of uncoordination and a little bit of overstaying from the Eagles. They weren't able to find that force to take down the Nexus, but it is completely bare. But with Baron up in 15 seconds, we'll see if Demons are able to secure that.
Yeah, these are still really long timers. You won't see the top laner or mid laner for another 30 seconds, but with jungler dying as well, it looks like they're only able to get a tower, maybe a second one. Probably not. That's too greedy. I would honestly just get the Baron setup, and it's gonna have to be another fight. They're gonna have to force another fight.
Yeah. Well, all their ults are just now. Malphite got his ult up again, so they are definitely in a position where they can just force another fight if they want to. Try and force some sort of bait around this Baron, as Stank takes a little bit of damage, but won't be too bad. And as long as they just keep someone rotating from mid to Baron to clear out this wave, they can apply a lot of pressure because they can do this really fast with this Kog'Maw. So Eagles definitely have to be paying attention, and they still haven't put a ward down on the Baron, so really don't know what's going on, but Demons aren't looking to rush that right now, and we'll just take resets instead.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really long Baron dance. We're at the point in the game where even mistakes like these, where Trundle just gets chunked out, he doesn't have TP to get back in. They can try and force a 4v5 if they really decide to. Habibster is actually taking him back. If there's any type of information on that, that's just Baron gone, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look like they quite have information, but the Demons were already headed over there anyway after clearing out the mid wave. Let's see if they just decide to start this up. They're definitely taking their time deciding, and it looks like they finally will just start it. There is no vision.
And they do this so fast.
Eagles aren't even responding to it. There's Vi's finally coming in now, but it's already going to be almost dead by the time it gets there. The Cho'Gath has his Eat as well, so he can secure this from outside of the Vi smite range, and they're just not even going to look for it. And just a free Baron going over to Demons.
Yeah, they might. It looks like Eagles are going to be forced to try and fight a Baron empowered team for this dragon. Or at least they're
Yeah,
gonna attempt to, as they have the early positioning here.
they really need to find a good ult with this Varus to try and shut down an important member here. But I mean, Defoe is just so tanky at this point. He can just eat anything and not really care too much. And between him and Malphite, they can really destroy this backline without too much problems. You can see how much damage just a Scream does.
Yeah, they can't even walk up to Defoe to even auto attack him or using abilities because he's so strong.
And I mean, Tark's not even here. Tark is just pushing down mid lane. They might be looking for just some sort of stall play here. As Tristana is looking for the end. The teleport's coming out from Malphite as the team is racing back to stop him. But this might not be enough if he doesn't have flash, so he gets hit by this knockup. His attack speed is slowed by this Malphite. He's attacking the Nexus so slow. The Kog'Maw's back here and he's not going to be able to get it.
Yeah, that attack speed slow from Malphite was so clutch in the end there.
I think the only way he could outplay that is if he still had his jump, but I think he got his jump to actually get into range. So he didn't have that available to dodge the Malphite ult. And now this Toronto is just getting shredded by this Kog'Maw. They're still not sure how they want to take this fight, but now Habib is caught out as the backline just has a flash away from Kayn.
Oh,
Kayn just gets one shot. But there's still this Kog'Maw who is so scary as Habib just gets silence knocked up and he's going to get taken down as well. It's not Prometheus that has to be in trouble, but he's just leading Kog'Maw back to the rest of his team. The Kog'Maw's walking straight forward, gets stunned, but it's not enough because he's so tanky. He just kites out the damage. He's going to take Visionary out. And they might just... I don't think they'll be able to get an end angle off here, but they might try. As it's really just going to be the Tristana.
Eagles doesn't have any wards to even try and teleport to backdoor, so it's going to be up to Tristana to try and defend against these three members of... Well, these four members of Demons.
Yeah, this might be the end of the game that sends the Demons to playoffs. As Tark is all by himself against this huge front line of the Demons. He can't hurt any of them. He has no LDR. He bought a potion for his last stand, but it's just not going to be enough. He needs his teammates to respond, but he just can't buy enough time. One turret goes down as Defoe's just taking the whole thing up. He's still over half health. The hook lands onto Tark, and he's going to get silenced and taken down. And this is going to be the Demons winning 2-0 and securing themselves a spot in playoffs.
Oh, it was a back and forth game. Eagles had such a really good early game, but getting picked off back to back into just constant bad team fights really just sealed their fate.
Man, just an incredible comeback coming out from the Demons, punishing the mistakes the Eagles made and just knowing they had this better team fight comp where they just had an untouchable front line. There's no one on the Eagles that had a LDR, no one had a Void Staff. Who was ever threatening this front line? And they were just so threatening in their own right. They just found the targets, they jumped straight on them. And with the backline isolated, they just never had the damage to return onto Kog'Maw.
Yeah, the only armor shard they have was the Blight, but congrats on the Demons for making playoffs. Securing the A spot, right?
I think it depends on Waffles. I think they are still in contention to fight for 7th. As I don't think the Waffles game doesn't look like it has concluded, but based off that result, I think they are currently tied in standings right now, and the Demons are ahead of points. So the Demons control their own destiny. They can get 7th if they win 2-0 next week, and it doesn't matter what the Waffles do. But the Eagles are really hoping that the Waffles just lost 2-0 in their series because they are a game down now. And if the Waffles win, that will secure our top 8, and the Eagles and Sabres will be eliminated. But if the Waffles have lost, then it could come down to the final week in some points tiebreakers to decide who actually gets that last 8th place spot.
Oh man, it's gonna be so close. Battle for the seeds right now.
All right, well, once again, well done to the Demons. Congratulations on securing themselves a playoff spot. That's going to be all for us tonight, and we will see you guys for the final week of the regular season next Friday as we will determine the final seeding going into the playoffs.